Hello, everyone. Welcome. And I'm so excited today to be with Bobbie Carlton, who is the founder of Innovation Women, which is an incredible company that is helping promote female speakers to get females out on that circuit so that when we open the newspaper and we see these big conferences that we see women's names among those lists of men that are predominantly there. So welcome, Bobbie. We're really excited about what you're doing. And for me, I know it's a personal passion because I am one of those, I'm always looking and going, oh, wait a minute, there are 5 men and only 1 woman, or there are no women. I'm always honed into that. So tell us a little bit about Innovation Women and sort of what lit that fire for you.
Sure. So thank you first off for having me, and great to have a conversation about this. Innovation Women really started from me sitting in the audience at technical conferences and events in particular and saying, where are the women? Where are they? I would see these all male panels and go a little wild inside. And I would talk to conference organizers and I got the litany of excuses. I mean, I asked and they said no, and I asked and they canceled. I asked and I could only find 2 women CTOs or 2 women who were CFOs or 2 women founders. And I'm like, let me help. So I started doing some one-to-one helping of conference organizers and event managers and realized that could become my full-time job. So I'm like, all right, how can I make this easy? Meanwhile, on the other side, I have 35 years of marketing and public relations. I've been doing this a really long time. And for women, I see the career enhancement. I see the funding. I see the opportunity to connect with customers and partners and just an audience at large. Every time you get on stage, you have the opportunity to tell your story and connect. It's an opportunity. Visibility equals opportunity.
Yep. Yes, I agree. That's wonderful. So you said, that when you asked companies about, they're like, oh, well, I tried or I couldn't find. So I guess the real question is, are companies really seeking, or were they just sort of being lazy and doing the low hanging fruit? Because I think when you see people speaking, a lot of times you see the same people
Yes.
over and over again. So, what is it? And what, are companies, are you finding that with everything that's going on with the women's movement, that companies are starting to wake up and say, wow, I really am going to be purposeful about this?
There are some companies that are being purposeful about it, but at the same time, there are some real challenges for event managers. Number one, event managers, they want to throw a great event. And often that great event is driven by having great speakers. And when you have a known quantity, when you have somebody that you've seen speak, you feel comfortable putting them on your stage. And so that's why we continue to see the same people, the same voices. And if you're looking back at somebody who's had a 30-year career and they've been on stage at conferences and events over and over and over again, maybe 30 years ago, it was the all male, all pale world. But, I got to say, there are also some challenges when you find the right women. So women are more likely to work for smaller companies. Women are more likely to work part-time. And still, even in this day and age, we're more likely, not always, but more likely to be the person who is responsible for home and kids. And it's super hard to be the keynote address at a breakfast meeting when you have to drop somebody off at school at 8 a.m.
Right. Or certainly traveling to conferences and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep. So there are some challenges. It just means that, there's a little extra effort, a small extra effort that has to be put into it. And quite frankly, that was one of the reasons that I created Innovation Women the way I did. It's a free account for event managers to go in. They can search by topic, they can search by location, they can search by industry, they can browse the topics, they can look at a video, and they can find the right women for their conference and instantly invite them right off the panel. I've had event managers come back to me and go, oh my God, after using this, I have a feeling that all my conferences just became female because it's so easy. You know,
Yeah.
they can grab the bio from the platform.
Right.
They've got the photo right there. When they get a yes back so quickly, because these are all women who have chosen to be speakers. They have chosen to put themselves out there. So
Right.
it makes it super easy for an event manager.
And what kind of topics are they? I know that all conferences are different, and sometimes they're real specific to an industry. But it is interesting. I actually have a dear friend who's a professional speaker, and she's got a rep firm, and she flies all over. And I'm like, you're speaking to.
She has a what?
Well, she has a professional company.
Oh, a rep. Okay.
Rep for her, yeah, and sometimes she's speaking for some manufacturer. I go, who are you speaking for? But she talks still about, about fear, overcoming fear and empowerment. And so she's still, topic wise, but it's interesting that these companies are seeking that. So I'm just curious if you had any sort of, if companies have certain things they're seeking, especially in this day and age.
Yeah, and there are certain many different types of speaking engagements. There are big technical conferences, which frankly pay almost nobody because they know that most of the time you're going to be paid by your employer who wants you out there speaking. There are corporations and universities that are putting on speaker series, and they're going to pay to bring you in. So there's a class of speakers, people who make a living speaking. And there is also the person who is speaking primarily for visibility for themselves and their companies. Mm-hmm. That's career enhancing, that is getting funding, that is connecting with customers and partners. So those are two different things. We actually handle both of those things. We allow our speakers to either be the kind of speaker who gets paid to speak all the time, or we can say, I get paid some of the time. I get paid usually, but sometimes I make exceptions, usually for good causes. Yep. We also have people that are like, I'm speaking primarily for visibility for myself and my company. So those types of, the pay correlation with events and the type of speaking engagements. But I gotta tell you, there's a whole new class of speaking opportunity. Meetups and things that you find on Eventbrite and marketing events. There's this huge surge in those things. Did you know there's 500,000 meetups that run every month?
Wow.
Huge opportunity for speakers, and a lot of them are panels. So they got 4 speakers. So, if you do the math, that's 2 million speaking opportunities a month. Crazy. And it's not like, all these meetups, and some of them are small, but a lot of them are huge. Boston's Big Data Meetup has 3,000 or 4,000 members and regularly holds events with hundreds of attendees. You're in big data, you want to get into that event.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's very interesting. And so how do you, I know that your website allows the event managers to find the speakers, but if you're a speaker, how do you find all these, how do you sort of get into that? What's your best advice for sort of figuring out, especially if you want exposure for your company and you really want to be out there?
Absolutely. Well, we actually go both ways. So on every Friday morning, the speakers in our database get an exclusive newsletter with over 100 different opportunities that they can search out, and they don't have to search them out. They can apply for them right off a list. So it's a big list. It's in categories, and we make it super easy. We drop it right into their email box every week. Every Friday at 9 a.m. that email comes in. Yes. But you don't need to be a member of our database. I love it, but you can also go searching. And I tell people, search on things like call for speaker and put in your topic, see what comes up. And you probably know the big conferences and events in your industry. So watch their website, figure out what their cycle is and when they put out their calls for speakers. You also probably want to connect with the people who are running these meetups. Find out who the organizer is and talk to them about how they choose their speakers, and just let it be known.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. So how many speakers do you have on your site?
So we have about 4,000 people on the platform overall, and about 1,000 of those are speakers.
Wow, that's amazing.
So we actually think it's the largest database of its kind for technical and entrepreneurial women.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So tell us just what's next for Innovation Women, or do you
Yeah.
have sort of a next phase, part deux that you're going to be expanding out to? What can we expect from y'all?
Absolutely. I mean, my goal actually is to have 10,000 speakers on there. And so I don't want any event manager to ever say I couldn't find somebody.
Right.
That's my big goal. We're
You don't
actually,
want any woman who wants to speak or who wants a voice or a platform to not have a place to be heard. I think that we
yeah,
talked earlier about the similarities. That's really what we're trying to do with On the Dot is give women this platform and this voice so that other women can see their path, and they can be a role model to others, but also so they can have a platform and a voice, much like what you're doing. So I absolutely love what you're doing. And speaking of getting to that 10,000, tell us how our listeners and our subscribers can get involved.
sure. I'm going to make it super easy. Innovationwomen.com. That's the place to go. And it's a self-service thing. You sign up for an account, and if you want to check it out, just go and sign up, and you can check it out with a free account before you go on to become an Innovation Women speaker. We charge $100 a year normally, but wait to the end, I'll give you a secret code.
Oh boy.
But I think one of the things that people have to understand is that while originally we started with technical and entrepreneurial women, we've had an incredible broadening of who's in our database and who's getting speaking engagements. Our first real estate agent that showed up, I'm like, oh, I'm going to be giving her back her money. And she got a speaking engagement like that. And I was like, oh my God, what just happened? A lot of these technical conferences, they want somebody to come in and speak about marketing. They want somebody to come in and speak about social media. They want someone to come in and teach them relaxation techniques. Our second kind of non-technical, non-entrepreneurial women was a yoga teacher. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't help her. And a wellness conference took her and 13 other women out of our database.
I see that at other entrepreneurial conferences. I've seen somebody who comes and they kind of open the event with this kind of mindfulness and really getting you in the position. It's really interesting. It's very hot right now. So I've actually been to a conference where they had that, and it was super cool. Got everybody super focused and what they were doing. Yeah.
So it's incredibly broad, no pun intended. But it's, as I said, all self-service. You can follow us on Twitter, WomenInno, INNO. But if you want to be one of our speakers, just use DOT, DOT, all capital letters, and that'll get you 25% off.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Okay, everybody. And we'll make sure that we post that also in the link so you can see the code, but using the code DOT. So you go to innovationwomen.com, right? And use the code DOT for 25% off, which is so wonderful. Thank you. That's really, really generous. So very last question before I let you go today. So who is your role model? We talk about role models. I know you're a wonderful role model for others, but do you have anybody that you've looked to or over the years that has been influential for you?
I think it's more a conglomeration of all the women that I meet on a daily basis. We always say we can't be what we can't see.
That's right.
And I always feel like there are these women who enter my life and enter my circle just at the time I need them to be there to help me on the next stage or, down the path.
Yes. And that's the great thing, I think, about role models is that you can have hundreds of them. You can have a different one every day, as you said, because just little pieces of what other women are doing and being able to see their progress and see that success. And it's really creating this mindset of abundance rather than scarcity, that there's an abundance of success, that women do have success. We're just not seeing it. So that's really what we're trying to do with On the Dot, and you're trying to do with these female speakers, which is amazing. So Bobbie, thank you so much. Bobbie Carlton of Innovation Women. Really excited to have this chat with you. You are also a woman to watch that will be featured. So you'll be on our regular On the Dot, and we'll also put that link in there so you can get to know a little bit more about Bobbie. And again, thank you for the special code. Use the code DOT for 25% off. So I appreciate it, and thank you so much.
Thank you.